I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Good evening, folks. This is Bill Mitchell with Your Voice America. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We have a very special show tonight. We're going to have two of the top QAnons out there to talk to us all about Q, what's going on with Barr, what happened with Mueller, what's going forward. Is there really a plan? Should we really trust Trump? All going to be on the show tonight. About a 15-minute interview, or 50-minute, I'm sorry, with Matrixxx and Shady. Yeah, these are great guys, and you're really going to enjoy it. It's coming up next. Today, Barr testified before the House. It was very interesting. It pretty much went like we expected. I do not understand the Democrats continually denigrating this guy and putting him down, considering the fact that Barr has the ability to name a special prosecutor at any time to go after all these top Democrats. That Barr is investigating the FBI for the Crossfire hurricane situation, which could implicate McCabe and Comey and Strzok and Brennan and all these top Democrat leaders, even Schiff, possibly, because they're talking about leakers and illegal leaking. So I don't understand why they're poking that bear or Barr, but they are, and we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, tonight, coming up next, interview with some of the top Q guys. If Q sent you, thank you for coming. You can watch the show on yourvoiceamerica.tv, our website. If you want to support the show financially, you can become a member. Monthly $7.95, annually $79.95. We really appreciate that. If you want to give some other sort of sum without becoming a member, maybe a larger sum, a lot of folks do that. They can go to our GoFundMe page at gofundme.com/YVA2020. People have been exceptionally generous there, and that keeps us going. All this stuff that you see, this ain't cheap, folks. It costs money to run all these things, and we appreciate you supporting us financially and allowing us to do that and allowing us to stay here on the internet for you. Okay, great. So here we go. This is a great interview with Q. It's about 50 minutes long, or QAnon. Sorry, not Q himself, but QAnons, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Here we go.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Welcome back, folks. This is Bill Mitchell with Your Voice America. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I tell you what, one of the hottest things out there is Q and QAnon. We hear about it all the time in social media. Q has been the group that's been out there since 2017, trying to make the base realize that there is a plan. It's not just chaos. Donald Trump is not just a victim of deep state. He has a plan for dealing with them. There's a lot of very cryptic stuff. I don't follow Q that closely myself because I can't figure it out. But we have two guys on here on the show that can figure out, or two of the top experts in Q. We have In the Matrixxx with 3 X's, and we also have Shady. In the Matrixxx, how are you today?
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it. I'm doing very, very well. And just a patriot who loves our country, our freedoms, God, and our way of life.
Wonderful,
hey,
wonderful.
Bill.
Same here. Go ahead, Shady.
Hey, Bill. I'm doing well. I hope all your audience is doing good today, and really excited about the president that we have. And thanks for having us over.
Yeah, it's terrific. Okay, so Matrixxx, you're well known as one of the top experts in Q out there. Why don't you give our audience a little bit of a background on who or what Q is and what the mission of the group is?
Sure. And this is very simple. I mean, like many of you, I felt something wasn't right in the world, right? That our country was headed in the wrong direction. Then something magical happened in 2016 that defied all expectations. A complete outsider to the political establishment, Donald J. Trump won the presidential election. It was amazing. It was the glimmer of light in all the darkness that we've been seeing, since I've been growing up, right? President, Trump, his victory, put the mainstream media and political establishment into a complete tailspin. They could not believe he won, and they never thought she would lose. There was too much at stake, too many bad deals, schemes, corruption that had to stay hidden. Consequently, the fake news media began an all-out assault on our president and the administration. So Patriots stood by our duly elected president, but I think he needed help, and that's where QAnon comes in. 10 months after the president's inauguration, someone named Q arrived on the scene, and Q claimed to be an intelligence insider, perhaps U.S. military intelligence, and was actively helping the president. So Q selected an off-the-beaten path of communication and began dropping what he called intel crumbs for curious anons, such as myself and Shady and many, many others, so we could investigate. These crumbs would add up to be the greatest intelligence drop in the world, history. So Q's purpose is basically to support our President Donald J. Trump, expose all the lies, the corruption and evil that plague this world today. So Q's purpose is to wake up patriots worldwide to see through the lies and take back the power that rightfully belongs to the people. Sheep no more, as Q says, right? This great awakening terrifies the old guard, and they will do anything they can to stop it, but they're losing, and they're losing badly. So this is kind of the short, quick story of Q. You said that Q was cryptic a little earlier.
For me, anyway.
Yeah, it's becoming a lot less cryptic as it comes along and goes along. But Q has been posting since October of 2017. And I think maybe because of some plausible deniability and stuff like that, it had to be cryptic. But there are so many Q proofs that we call them, future proofs, pasts and stuff like that, where Q team, it could be 10 people, 3 non-military that know about the whole, the whole plan of the Q. So, and you also notice, Q team, or excuse me, our president is surrounded by military. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. You've got General Flynn involved as well. Right. I mean, not in Q, but involved in, this corruption, if you will. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people afraid of Q. Because it's truth, and the truth is going to hurt a lot of people, Bill. Yeah,
I tell you what, on this show, shortly after Mueller was appointed, we came up with our whole hashtag slow walker thing. And the idea behind that was people kept saying, why is the DOJ so slow in walking documents to Congress? Why are they doing that? What's the point of the delay? Is Sessions obstructing Trump and that sort of thing? We said, no, what they're doing is they're delaying this whole thing to get us to the midterms so that we can, take out the deep state right before the midterms. Well, we saw that start to happen about a month and a half before the midterms. And all of a sudden we had 2 major hurricanes and we had the Kavanaugh hearings, and it threw off the timing. So that all that, I believe, was pushed until after the midterms. Now, I came up with those ideas because basically I'm a very good guesser, and I was using the Sherlock Holmes method, that if you remove everything that is impossible, no matter what is left, no matter how improbable, must be true. And that's how I came up with my slow walker theory. It seems to me like Q goes from another approach. Q came up with basically the same idea, but from an insider information standpoint. I didn't have insider information. I just looked at the thing and I said, wait a minute. This whole idea that Sessions is somehow a bad guy, that he's trying to take out Donald Trump after he was the first senator to support Donald Trump, risked everything for that he was, somehow trying to undermine the guy that gave him this great job. I just couldn't believe that. So once I rejected that, everything else, no matter how improbable, started to make sense. And so that's where I see what I've done is just, I'm postulating using the Sherlock Holmes method to come up with this idea. And you guys, or Q, is more like having actual factual inside information, and he's leaking it out to you guys in these breadcrumbs, and QAnon is coming together and figuring it out and interpreting it. I tell you what, there are a lot of enemies of Q out there, but there's one person I've never heard to say a negative word about Q, and who is that? Donald Trump. And what does Donald Trump do with the media? He attacks them on a daily basis. They're fake news and so on and so forth. I've never heard Donald Trump come after Slow Walker. I've never heard Donald Trump come after Q as being fake news. Shady, what do you think about all this?
Well, yeah, one thing that I would like to say real quick that's hard for a lot of people to understand is the control systems that are in place around our media. And, they keep telling everyone they're writing all these stories and talking about how the president is undermining the free press. He's not attacking the free press. They won't tell you the truth. The truth is he's attacking the fake news stories that are put in place intentionally to undermine him, And so whenever we talk about Q and what Q's method is. Q's method is based in the Socratic method, which is that of which we ask questions of, right? We ask questions to the universe as humans, as individuals. Well, the same thing. Q has started posting and asking questions, very interesting questions that have to do with events long ago, such as the Titanic, questions that have to do with Princess Diana, questions that have to do with 9/11. All of these really, really big questions, lots and lots of questions about JFK and what really happened there and who the deep state is and where their positions are and how they've been in control of the puppet strings, okay, that rule over our society. And believe it or not, through our research of digging into this stuff, we've gone back to the middle 1800s and found in media where the deep state, quote unquote, were inserting people in editorial rooms around the country way back then. So they've been in control of the media and what the narrative is. And the big sway in everything that's going on. And the reason you see what's happening with the president happening is because he's using his Twitter and he's speaking to us. This is the first time we've ever had an unedited president talk directly to the people and not have to filter through the newspaper or filter through the television or filter through the radio. And so he speaks to us, and then they are trying to engineer this counter narrative that says, oh, he's not correct. We're telling you what to think. And as anons and people into Q, everyone's waking up to the idea of, wait a minute, we don't want to be told what to think. We want to be told what's going on so we can decide what to think. Right. And so really thousands and thousands, and then now this has turned into millions and millions of people worldwide who are learning to think for themselves. And that is very, very crucial for just our existence as humanity, much less as a nation and a republic. Yeah,
you're definitely a threat to a lot of people. My perception of the whole slow walker thing, or Q's the plan, is that it comes in two acts. This entire thing has been a kind of a sting operation. The first act would be that Mueller would exonerate President Trump so that within 2 years of his becoming president, this whole cloud of Russia making him the president would be wiped away. It would go into the second 6 years of the Trump presidency with that gone, despite the fact that Democrats don't want to let it go. And the second act would be the takedown of deep state. That throughout the Mueller investigation, that there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, basically putting Trojan horses deep inside the deep state so that you could take those guys out from within. That's the only way you could do it. To soften them up with body blows to guys like Comey and Strzok and McCabe and these guys, and then eventually go after the head, Obama and Hillary. And I believe we're entering into that second act right now. We have the Barr testimony today. We have the Nunes criminal referrals coming up. Everything is starting to come faster and furiouser. And I see that we're heading in that right now. Matrixxx, what does Q think about where we are in this thing? Are we just going to be led to the altar again and promise that we're going to return to a system of fair and equal justice? Or is Barr going to just punt? Nothing will ever happen. Nobody will ever get indicted. Because a lot of people are afraid of that. Like, we've seen this a million times before. Nothing ever happens. Nobody goes to jail on the left. What do you guys on Q think is going to happen in, let's say, the next 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think the second half of the year is going to be retribution. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. And Q gave us a post, and I'm trying to remember which post it was, but it was basically like a calendar. Where Q asked us to think like a calendar, and it talked about like how everything is going to go down, especially what's happening right now with the panic in DC and the Mueller report and Barr meeting with Whitaker and all of the different things with the sanctions removed with North Korea. So what's happening next is they're going to trust Wray in order to read the report. And then the Democrats are going to subpoena, which they've already started doing. They're trying to get the report released, but I do in fact think that Mueller is going to exonerate Trump, like you said earlier, because they're saying that he wasn't cooperating with the investigation, and in fact he was the whole time. That's why there is no issues with Trump and the Mueller investigation. He didn't testify, and he went along with it day one. So the Mueller report will go to Barr, and then forward from there, and then D class will come eventually. And to your point about slow walking, we've seen Lisa Page's testimony come out. Q said Lisa Page was a cooperating witness, and now we have mainstream media a couple months after that we knew that she was a cooperating witness, that she's a cooperating witness. Then you've got, we've got all this testimony being released in drops, in drips, and dribbles to make sure that we slow walk everybody, because this is the biggest con against mankind, what has been happening here to our country. Yeah. And I think we need to get everybody to understand that, this is happening, and, reading and reporting truly, like on Your Voice America and other, like our show, the Matrixxx Groove Hour on YouTube, we're trying to just present facts as we see them, connecting the dots.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, the base needs to get away from this two-tiered justice system. This is what is so offensive to the Trump base, is that it seems like, if you sneeze wrong and you're a Republican, you're put in solitary confinement for a year and you do jail time. If you're a Democrat, you can create the Russian dossier in the light of day, get illegally gotten FISA warrants, the highest level FISA warrants ever, to spy on the campaign of a competing party, and nothing happens to you. I tell you what, the reputation of the DOJ and the FBI and Barr himself are on the line here. I think Barr can't just punt on this. Barr has got to move ahead. There have got to be some perp walks. I can see guys like, McCabe and even Comey and all these guys actually doing some jail time for illegally leaking to the press for conspiracy and so on and so forth. Shady, do you think that something's going to actually come of these? I don't know. You guys aren't committing to this. I'm just saying, what's your best guess on this? Do you think that based on what he says that these guys could be in some serious legal jeopardy?
Well, we know, Bill, we know they're in serious legal jeopardy. We have not only have we seen, the stuff that is going on in the media, there's a lot of stuff that has been revealed through the Q drops that show us the trail. Okay, so we're following a trail, and the people, the brilliant anons on the boards who are helping break all this stuff down. Well, as Q releases a picture of a group of people in London, and it's John Brennan and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, and this is a picture from 2014 or 2013 or whenever or 2015, I think, actually. Yeah. But either way, right when they were starting this whole thing up, they kind of knew what was happening in the background. They knew that Trump was going to come to the conversation. And a lot of people out there have this issue with, like, say, Jeff Sessions and what's happening behind the scenes. We have a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. There's over 80,000 sealed papers, indictments around the country that we've been able to identify. There's been almost 8,000 resignations by high-level CEOs who've stepped away from their positions for some reason in the last year, a little over a year now. And the people that you're talking about in the system that you're talking about, we have to recognize it's not just a Democrat-Republican paradigm here. And we have a lot of neocon people who behind the scenes coordinate with the left, and they're working all of this stuff out against America. They're working it out against the American people. And what the president is talking about when he says, make America wealthy or make us great again, he's saying we are spending slush fund after slush fund. We are funding deep state operations after deep state operations all around the globe, and cutting the strings and the ties to this stuff that leads back over a century is a lot to take in, and for instance, with Jeff Sessions, so many people wanted to come after the Q movement and say, oh, you were saying trust Sessions, and look, Sessions is gone. They don't understand what's going on behind the scenes with the IG Horowitz or with Mr. Huber out in Utah and what they've been investigating. And so, with Jeff Sessions, you have to recognize that he was a target in this investigation. And so a lot of people the media isn't telling anyone this, it's known, but he was a target in the investigation probably before he was actually nominated to Attorney General. Yeah. So he went in knowing he was going to recuse from this. And the reason for that was so that they could allow them to act like no one was paying attention, or allow them to think they were getting away with it. Because you got to believe that the Obama administration, as they left, well, they were pretty free with the side-handed pardons for anything people had done in the past because they knew what was getting ready to happen. You saw how busy they were in the 2 weeks leading up to Donald Trump. So I
Right.
feel like we're going to see some fireworks real soon.
You're going to see Mueller, D-class, OIG, truth, then justice. And I pulled up that Q post, Bill, in regarding to the calendar that things have already happened on it. It kind of goes like this. It says it has a countdown, and then it says blockade removal, Scaramucci model, RR removal, goodbye number 2, number 1 oversight of Mueller. So right now, as of February 9th, I think, Mueller reports to Barr, just so you know. Then you're going to get OR removal, 1 through 4 removal, Barr install. So that's this. And keep in mind, this post, it was February 9th, 2019. Barr with Whitaker review RR notes regarding strong reservations to D-class due to sources and methods plus foreign classified irreparable harm. OIG review prior to executing order. There's already an executive order declassing this stuff. So Barr with Whitaker pull D-class review assignment from OIG, cite executive orders from POTUS, does not require special oversight. The DOJ and FBI, Ray, fully capable in reviewing and commenting regarding op integrity, sources and methods, etc. Barr will execute the order to D-class, plus provide members of House Committee the long-requested supplemental documentation in a classified setting, scope, memo, and classified as required by U.S. law. Whitaker remain DOJ senior staff. That happened. Barr meeting with Huber and OIG. That happened. Then OIG report. House Democrats will then threaten subpoena of Barr and Whitaker regarding D-class, special counsel report, Huber, etc. House Ds use subpoena power to do some other things, X1, X2, X3, spill plus 30. Meeting with North Carolina, D-nuke plan process. Sanctions lift meets subject A, B, food for people aid. Now, remember, we had that meeting with the president and North Korea, and everybody was like, oh, the sanctions weren't lifted. Well, the sanctions were lifted, I think 2 weeks ago, Friday. Right. Don't quote me on that, just a couple of Fridays ago. The additional sanctions were, in fact, lifted. So this Q post is now future-proof past this line of it. Then you're going to see UK and Australia narrative shift regarding country spy campaign versus POTUS. And this is about Five Eyes, right? So hops 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to target. So, and then the Ds are going to do the sky is falling push to the public, scare to control, and projection. Then there's going to be a public awakening that we're all going to understand what's happening, basically. Narrative and damage control. Placeholders are active. Wall discussion and public awareness of Ds. Red/green castle per original plan, dark to light. Q. And what that means is we as Anons knew that the Army Corps of Engineers were going to, in fact, do the wall back in March. In fact, that was my meme, and I was Q'd several times over. And there is Q has his own board called Patriot Fight, and we talked about placeholders. And I want to go over these placeholders quickly with you. It won't. Sure. It just takes a minute. It's basically this. Go ahead, please. There's going to be a placeholder for the OIG report, off the record communications. Placeholder, OIG report, umbrella spy and targeting. OIG report, FISA abuse, direct and indirect sources, DIS. Foreign inserts, off the record plus info dissemination. Foreign assist D1, executive B, ABCs, which is the ABC agencies, plus media collusion. FBI, DOJ, and media collusion. And you just saw that there's a lawsuit, $145 million against McClatchy. Right. So this is starting to come true now, you see. Yeah. So then you've got the placeholder regarding the D-class general and the special C pub. Then you've got a placeholder for Five Eye and FISA publications. Then you've got placeholders for acts of treason plus support articles. Then you've got a placeholder for the Foreign Acts pub, branch termination, leaks. Then you've got placeholders for the Supreme Court rulings regarding challenges regarding civilian, non-civilian, and USA versus defense appeals. Then you're going to have a placeholder for indictments tracking non-civilian, and then you're going to get one indictments tracking civilian. Now, just so you know, there's over 84,000 sealed indictments that have been logged since Q has been posting since October. And that's an unusually high number,
right? That's an unusually high number, isn't it?
Very unusually high.
Yeah, that would be like something comparatively to a normal countrywide yearly average of maybe 1,500 to 2,000 in every federal district around the country.
And a lot of that took place while Sessions was AG, correct?
Almost all of it. It's
5,000 a month.
Roughly about 5,000 more a month have been coming online, and they are largely in California, New York, and Texas.
Fascinating.
And
I tell you what,
there's
I think
also resignations too. These CEOs, there's 7,594 CXOs, and only 263 got a new job, and 19 have been indicted so far. So these resignations have to do, in my opinion, with the antitrust laws that our president, actually, I believe next week, has a meeting on. I think it's the 12th. Is it this week? There's an open roundtable for antitrust, and the antitrust will cull some of the Fed corruption, and also, because Q refers to Reagan and JFK a lot. I'm thinking that our president wants to reinstate the gold standard, because that's what Q is kind of hinting to, and that will end the big con with the Federal Reserve Bank and the Depository Trust Corporation on 55 Water Street, et cetera.
And that's that's really is the target of Q, is the Fed. That is our target. That is what we're talking about, is our money. We understand most people who have come to this movement had some understanding of the conspiracy layer to our world about the Federal Reserve and what's really going on. And it's in fact its own corporation. It's not a part of our federal government. Well, those people have now gotten a lot more information. Now we really understand what it is. And so the target is for us to get the dollar back on the gold standard, because when we do that, we control our money again. We're a very competent nation. We have the ability to print our own money. We don't need to hire a private contractor to print money for us. We can do that job, and we can also implement a system where we start holding politicians accountable to their constituency, which right now it seems very hard to find out what your politician or your particular district is actually doing up there.
Right.
When it seems to us it should be very easy to recognize that, oh, well, he voted for this. Why is there not a list here? So we want to put in this layer of accountability in our government, this layer of understanding where the money is being spent, who is doing what, but there's so much cleanup work to do, and that's what we're seeing behind the scenes, and that's why we think the Q thing was so important, would be to bring us the information. So now Anons, all of us have all this information. It's not stored in a web cache somewhere.
Right.
We've pulled it all back. So if they try to take the internet down or whatever they want to try to do to stop this information from coming out, we have the information for the Great Awakening.
I believe that the reason why this is taking so long is that Donald Trump understands timing. It doesn't do any good to fire your cannons that have got a 1 mile range when your enemy is 2 miles out at sea. A lot of people are like, well, why aren't we shooting the cannons? Well, the enemy's too far away now. Pardon me, this is a massive pincer movement that, Sun Tzu said that when you're strong, appear weak. And I believe that during the Mueller investigation, Donald Trump's idea was to appear weak, to draw the deep state in towards the retreating Trump campaign, but at the same time be surrounding the enemy on both sides, unaware that they were going to be surrounded and taken in. And I think that we're coming up to now in the next 6 months to a year is that the deep state is surrounded, the Democrats are surrounded, and that we have got so much information and so much evidence with these 80,000 sealed indictments out there that Donald Trump is going to look to not only slow the deep state, not only to wound the deep state, but to absolutely crush the deep state in a vice that they will never recover from again. And that's why it was a slow walker. That's why it took a long time. And why didn't Donald Trump do this right away when he became president? Because he's a brand new president. And if he made America as a brand new president lose faith in our DOJ, lose faith in our FBI, realize how utterly corrupt our government had become, then his new government would become friendly, casualties of friendly fire, because he could not, remove faith in the American government and then say, well, trust us instead. Donald Trump had to take a couple years to establish himself and establish the new Trump doctrine and say, we are different from these guys. We are a new form of government from these guys. We are the Make America Great Again government. And now they've established that, and Donald Trump has his own gravitas. Okay, now he can take out the old version and destroy them. And I think that is where we're going. Okay, but you guys mentioned you've got a lot of enemies that are against you. I want to talk about that real quick. You've had people that are out there trying to infiltrate you, people out there saying horrible things about you. Oh, they're a LARP, all this other stuff. As LARPs go, when I think of a LARP, I think of some 12-year-old kid sitting in his mother's basement, eating Pringles and drinking root beer and coming up with this stuff. You read the stuff in Q, this is obviously an extremely intelligent person, an extremely informed person that's coming up with this stuff. A very high level of intellect here. So it's definitely not that. This whole idea of it's a LARP, and this is a tactic the left uses all the time. They give something a label and then they dismiss it. It's like birtherism. Oh, well, if you didn't believe Barack Obama was born in America, then you're a birther. Okay, well, then you're rejected because we just put this label and you rejected. That's what the whole LARP thing is. I want to talk real quickly about this attempt to infiltrate you guys, to take over your QAnon boards. Who is doing this in your opinion? And what are you guys doing to protect yourselves? Go ahead,
right, so
Matrixxx.
Let me start off by saying we have to realize that we had a severe anti-Trump, never Trump campaign. And I think people are posing as MAGA, but they're actually, they wanted Cruz to win because it's the old guard. The old guard doesn't want the new guard, which is MAGA. So it's just not the left, it's the neoconservatives, which were both right and left. Okay, so we have to really do some soul searching as individuals and forget our, whose team are we on. We need to realize that whoever we elect in these next elections, and we better be, looking to get our president elected in 2020, we need to realize that there are some old guard people that say that they're MAGA that aren't. And there's been, so in regards to the attacks, there's no way a person that's 16 years old and in the basement could be on Air Force One and take a picture over North Korea and put it on the internet and never been seen before. Right. So, that's one. And then other many Q proofs as well. Two, Donald Trump, if he felt that this was hurting his movement, our movement, the President Trump 2020 movement, he would have disavowed Q long ago. Oh, yeah. Three, there's been money poured onto the people. And I think that's why Q pointed to, I think they're called the MAGA coalition. They basically, he pointed to their findings, and then Brian Cates did a big thread about how they might be laundering money. And we're figuring out, Neon Revolt just did an article how they're getting the money with the PayPal. And that is one of the organizations that is attacking me heavily. There's one person in that MAGA coalition, which, is setting up fake Twitter accounts of Praying Medic, myself, and perhaps others. They've been caught posting anti-Semitic memes on the board. So they've actually infiltrated Q's 8chan research board and slid the threads and made it very difficult for the real Anons to do the work, such as myself. And they finally have exposed themselves. And in fact, if you want to just kind of, I don't know if you want to go over some of the Q posts about them, but it shows this. One of the biggest Q posts. I'm going to go to this article real quick and just grab it because it's very interesting. The person in question is Doug Stewart, at Real Doug Stewart. He's the one that has been posting some fake memes that are anti-Semitic. In fact, this MAGA coalition is calling me anti-Semitic, and they say I worked at McDonald's during the Trump campaign. I don't work at McDonald's, just so you know.
And also they went out and found some sort of video on the internet. They're trying to say is his voice. He was not a broadcaster before. He's only been broadcasting with us together, and so it's not like they're being so unfair and so off the mark. And then this whole thing coming in with new accounts being created.
Well, let me throw this in.
It really is.
Let me throw this in real quickly. Yeah. I am not without my own personal experience with MAGA Coalition. They actually doxed me and showed my Social Security number on a Periscope.
Really?
Yeah,
I knew that.
They're bad news. And we, they put out Periscopes, threatening to physically attack us, to recommending that we be physically attacked, and so on and so forth. I just ignore them on Twitter. You know why? Because if you look at their top people, they put out a tweet and they get maybe 10 likes and 5 retweets. Literally nobody cares what they're doing. Nobody gives a damn about their crazy messaging and that sort of thing. They've got this tiny little cadre of followers. If I engage with them, or Your Voice America engages with them on a regular basis, we give them an audience. We're not going to do that. But I tell you what, as far as them coming after you guys, they needed to be outed, and that's why I asked you on this, because this is some nefarious stuff that they're doing, and they need to be called out on this. I'm not going to engage with them on Twitter because I'm not giving them the oxygen. They desperately want that. Why do you think they dox me? Why do you think they attack me all the time? Because they want me to fight with them on Twitter, because then people will know who the hell they are. I could go on my Twitter account right now and mention MAGA Coalition, and 99% of my 420,000 followers would say, who? They have no idea who these people even are. They are nothing. They are less than nothing. And they believe that they're a big deal. They believe they're world changers. And all they do is go out there and throw these verbal firebombs at people to try to cause trouble. Well, I'm sorry, guys. You literally do not matter. You're not going to stop Q. You're not going to stop us. You're a big zero out there. And, whatever. I understand people are giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't get that. It's a complete waste of money. I don't see how you're supporting candidates. I don't see how you're doing anything but promoting you. I mean, if you want to prove that's true, false, let me know. But I don't see any of that going on. Okay, so go ahead, Matrixxx.
Into this 3182, and it says this: thank you, Anons, for bringing this to our attention. Be careful who you follow. Follow the money, follow the expenses, and it links to MAGA Coalition, OpenSecrets.org, the PAC expenditures. It links to a Twitter draw and strike status and an IRS individuals. How do you report suspected tax fraud and activity? And then a link to FBI.gov/tips. So MAGA Coalition was dropped in 3182. And then in 3222, and Anon says this: Q, digging on MAGA Coalition shows obvious fraud. All those associated are nonstop attacking and obviously coordinated. Why would a PAC attack us? This in and of itself shows it's fake. This PAC, MAGA Coalition, also engages known shills/frauds. Do we still dig? Many reported to the IRS. Then Q responds to that, Anon, and says, some organizations do not have good intentions. Due diligence required.
Are there any other super PACs besides MAGA Coalition that are attacking you guys?
No.
So just these guys. Just these guys.
Right, and this also
so far.
Right, and this goes back, Bill. This goes back actually for us to early part of the summer, and the networking that they were doing to try to track us. Like they put together this whole list with all of the Q accounts to see and track and understand how we're moving, and they're calling American
Gallagher method.
Right,
Yep.
They're calling American patriots Russian bots out there. They have a bot tracker that has all our accounts tagged as bots, and so new people that would see our account and filter it through this tracking system, well, it shows the new people that it's a Russian bot, and to be very aware of that account, because we're spreading around hashtags that have QAnon or Q Army or where we go one we go all, stuff like that. They're connecting us. So they started this a while back, and now they've escalated recently. And we're also being we're being attacked by other Anons out there who are irritated at us because we, because Matrixxx and I decided to bring our voices out and to get the word out and to reach a larger audience with this message, because we felt like we were in an echo chamber. So they're mad at us because we're talking about it, So it is really the only organization attacking us.
This is the nature of this sort of thing. I don't know if you followed the Star Trek. It's not Star Trek, but Star Wars book or series long after the movies ended. There were like 20, 30, 40 books. I was a geek. I read all this. And, it's interesting that the rebels cooperated together. But once the Empire was defeated, they started fighting amongst each other. And sometimes this happens when you have a grassroots organization like this. Not everybody agrees. I mean, even Christianity has got, tens of denominations that disagree with each other. So you're going to have some disagreements within an organization like QAnon, but that's normal. So if there are some disagreements and a little bit of infighting stuff, folks, this is just how it goes, right? This is not a highly structured thing that's been building up for 100 years with all these controls and all this, authority and so on and so forth. It's a lot of guys coming together and girls coming together trying to make sense of all this stuff. So if you see a little bit of conflict and you see some QAnon saying, "Oh, these QAnons are off the reservation," it's just noise,
I'd like
folks.
to
Try to stay with the
address
main
that
message
as well.
Right. Yeah.
The QAnons that are fighting amongst each other are not who you think they are. They're not actually patriots, just disagreeing. This is a well-orchestrated attack against Q, because Q drops questions and asks you to think for yourself.
Right.
And so when you offer, so basically Q is asking us about this coalition to follow the money, track donations, admin, funding strategy, researchers, monthly installments, payments made to who, how much donated money we actually spent promoting MAGA, pro MAGA candidates. And I don't know if you realize this too. I'm actually on, Hillary Clinton did an email, and I'm on the top 200 list. And Q had pointed that to us before as well. And the top 200 list means those are patriots that can actually change the narrative. And they want these people off of Twitter. And so I'm being targeted by Hillary Clinton and the deep state that might be posing as Anons, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, it's very easy for them to do that. So folks, just sleep with one eye open. And, keep the pattern, understand the pattern, the chaos, understand the river that runs through it, understand the big goal, try to stay away from all this extra noise. And I tell you what, here's my read on Q. Q isn't going out there telling people to do stuff. Q isn't trying to change the policy. Q is reporting on what's going in the background so they can give the base hope that there is a plan and that Donald Trump is in control. To me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what we do on this show.
That's right.
As well. Yeah. So, and that's why I have to look twice and look sideways at these people who are just out there absolute fire breathing against Q, said that Q is some sort of big threat. And their rationale is this: oh, well, Q is trying to give people comfort with this, some sort of plan, so they won't go out there and they won't criticize government, these hard things. It's like, okay, criticize government. What do you mean? Attack Trump. They're saying Q is trying to say that people need to trust Trump, and so we won't attack Trump for these little things he does, like Syria and North Korea and stuff like that. Well, this sounds to me like a bunch of former Cruz people who are bitter out there, who said they were on the Trump train, said they were part of MAGA, because where else did they have to go besides saying they were Democrats? Okay, so they joined the Trump train, but really they do not really believe in Donald Trump. What they believe in is their agenda, and as long as Donald Trump is towing the line on their narrow agenda, they will back Trump. But the second that Donald Trump deviates from what they think he should do for a minute, all of a sudden the long knives are out, they're attacking him, and so on and so forth. And what they're saying is the Q is bad because we need to be able to have the freedom to attack Donald Trump. And that's because there are a bunch of damn never Trump deep staters who joined the MAGA train just because they had nowhere else to go, but they're not truly Trump supporters. They're exposing themselves. That's what these guys are. I see it over and over again. Am I right about that?
Well said. Yes. For those who think that this war is fake or we're not considered a major threat, this is a direct attack by never Trumpers, Hillary Clinton, on Q and pro-POTUS patriots. The article that I was talking about linked literally to target pro-POTUS and Q Twitter accounts that have been identified by the Clintons and the deep state as serious threats. Ability to shift the narrative. Twitter has already begun to remove, they have an active list of all these 200 people, which I am on that list, by the way, and they have X's through the people that they've already taken out. And Hillary Clinton actually retweeted this. And so I'm actually, Twitter has already begun to remove some of those targeted accounts and stages under false pretenses. This war is real. The threat is real. Clinton panic, Clinton fear, and Judgment Day is coming. And that's what these people are afraid of, who are maybe have something to hide, like your never Trumpers, right? So I'm really interested to see how it goes, because the patriots that have been selected as threats and falsely labeled as foreign disinfo agents, though they attempt to disguise at the bottom, is not all. And this is a report on a website that Hillary Clinton and Politico put out. And it's an attempt to target and remove by false pretenses all threatening voices, the elimination of our free speech to prevent their loss of control. And these actions are now being monitored, and they want us to report to Congress and Senate and the media. And they believe that it's a test run to silence the opposition while testing the potential media backlash and/or official response. And there's been none. This attempt to remove and silence is actually fascism. Those who oppose their view or narrative, and it should further demonstrate their resolve to control the message, and they want to win at any cost. So we're actually, just talking about truth. If I have information, it's either theory with a question mark on my Twitter, and that's at in the Matrixxx with 3 X's on Twitter, and or it's fact, and I prove to you what the fact is. So you are the new news now. And Bill, that was very, very, very well said, what you said there, because we forgot about the never Trumpers. We forgot about the never Trumpers. They just went away, right? or did they?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
No,
Yeah.
they just like kind of went to the edge of the room for a second.
Right. Well, they had nowhere else to go, so they said, "Yeah, we're MAGA," but they're really
Right.
not. They're really not. Yeah, they have an
Right,
agenda,
exactly.
and as long as Trump follows their agenda, they're fine. But as soon as he deviates for a second, the long knives come out, and we know who these people have been. Look at
Right.
the reaction to anything he did in Syria. Off the train, on the train, off the train, on the train. And there's one thing about Your Voice America: we've never been off the train because we're strategic thinkers, like Donald Trump is a strategic thinker, and we get that just because he's doing something right now, that doesn't mean where he's really going. A lot of times when he's doing something right now, he's trying to misdirect his foes so that he can eventually get to where he's going. He's trying to set up these micro leverages in his relationships so that when it comes time to close and he can win. Donald Trump is doing one or two things. He's either creating leverage or he's closing. If he's not closing, he's creating leverage, and he doesn't close until like the last week or so before the deal is done. So all this lead up is creating leverage and setting people up and laying out the board. So when it comes time for checkmate, there's literally nowhere else for the deep state's king to go. Guys,
right.
It's been great having you on here.
Yeah.
Really,
Real quick,
really appreciate
Bill,
that. Go ahead.
one more thing to say. Just, other than POTUS, our president, Donald Trump, can you name a group more attacked than, by Q and by the fake news media? So it's basically fake news media is attacking our president every day,
Right.
as we see with fact, and Q. So, think for yourself. There's multiple tactics being deployed, including, it's just desperation. So I want everybody to reconcile using logic. Think for yourself, because the dividers will fail, Bill.
Absolutely. And here's what I get asked all the time on Twitter. Bill, do you believe in Q? It's like Q is not some sort of supernatural being for me to believe
No,
in.
and
It's a
that-
data
maybe if
point.
I
It's a
could
data
just real
point.
quick
My show's a
throw
data point. They're a
comment
data
in there
point.
about that. People are talking about this like it is some sort of religious structure, and what we
It's
are
not.
doing as anons and QAnon
It's just
is
information.
we are learning the true history of our republic, and
Right.
we are trying to reinstate it by
Right.
removing the octopus tentacles from each individual area and get us back to a common law republic that has a currency based in metal, like our Constitution requires. That is our end goal, and that is what we're on here to do every day.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, okay, this show, Your Voice America, is a data point. Q is a data point. There are other data points out there. You got to look at all the different data points and decide which ones fit your worldview and create your worldview, and then proceed and take action based upon that. It's not some religion. There's no supernatural being, and Q is not some supernatural being. It's a person or a group of people that apparently have insider information that are extremely intelligent. And this is why when people, it's like the old saying, methinks you complain too much or you protest too much. I wonder about these people that are going after Q so much. It's like, methinks you protest too much. What is
Right.
it that is so upsetting about these guys for you that you have to go on this nonstop campaign to try to make people not believe what they're saying? Because to me, it's like, if they were coming after Trump, I've never seen them come after Trump. I've never seen them be anything but supportive of Trump. I've never seen them do anything but try to create hope in the Trump family that there is some sort of plan here, that we're not just randomly going out there and Trump is some sort of victim where he's having his Pepsi, drugged, and he's some sort of stupor all the time and he has no idea what's happening. They're saying trust Trump, trust the plan. And we say the same thing on the show. To me, this is normal.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, I want to ask you before we get off the show here, I want to ask you, how do people that are new to this whole QAnon thing, because you said millions of people are joining on, how do they follow what QAnon is doing? Where are the best websites to go to? What are the best forums to join? How does it all work?
Right. So I was thinking the same thing, and it's tough because Twitter is a battleground in there,
Yeah.
So Shady and I embarked on a journey to create in the Matrixx with 3x's.com. And we've got and you actually tweeted out the new to Q. Thank you for that, by the way. So if you want to go to in the Matrixx with 3x's.com, you can see the new to Q. We actually have Q posts live on there as well. Then I've got links about who is P. Shady was talking about the real history of the U.S. It's the Pacers, and that's a big, deep dig. Mm-hmm. But it talks about the resignation info that we talked about today, and all of the different basically bookmarks that I use and we use to dig as anons. We also have a Q Army social network that we have. We have over about 4,000 users on it right now. Mm-hmm. We have a Q Army news network, so we highlight Twitter feeds and YouTube feeds, and we'll be adding you, Bill, because you know what? I forgot to add you, so we're going to add you. It's a living list. and we're gonna get you on there. So and then and we just basically at Shady Groove with 3 O's on Twitter, Shady Groove, and at In the Matrix with 3 X's on Twitter as well. And then we have our own YouTube channel that's being highly suppressed. It's In the Matrixx with 3 X's. So it's
our YouTube's. You know, it's funny. We don't do that many plays on YouTube. Back during the campaign, I could do a 5-minute hit on YouTube and get 50,000 plays in an hour on YouTube. Now this show, which is one of the most popular shows out there, does about 100,000 plays a day on Periscope. Can go on YouTube and maybe do like 2,000 plays. And I can have a big name who's extremely popular on Twitter, who promotes the show, and we still do the exact number of plays.
Just know,
no matter what we do,
know that
we do the same
your
number
voice.
of plays.
Yeah, just know your voice is getting a lot further than you think. We're seeing that our voice is getting a lot further than what any types of likes or views or anything. We're really penetrating, and the American, you know, the center-minded, objective American middle class understand this. They understand Mr. Trump, and the media are just really on the fringes trying to make everybody think that this is what's really going on.
Yeah. What's your website?
We have 11,000 views on our Praying Medic video. We had Praying Medic on as a guest, but on Praying Medic's show, he has a bigger following, obviously. He's got 133,000 views on our show that he put on his YouTube. Right. So we're very thankful for Praying Medic to come on the show and speak about a lot of the things that we're speaking about today. And, you know, check it out, guys. You know,
amazing.
I think that's
say your website again real quick. Everybody can go there.
How we're being censored.
Say your website again real quick so everybody can go there.
Yes. In the Matrixx, Matrixx with 3 X's.com.
Okay, very good, very good. And there's somebody out there faking that they are in the Matrixx on Twitter, and it's a capital I they're using instead of the lowercase I, like
L. They're using an L.
Is an L? Is that what it is? Yeah.
L. Yeah, instead of an I. It's very crafty. And that, by the way,
they have like 16 followers. That's how you can tell. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're very thankful,
they have
Bill,
like 15
for
or
having
16
us on.
followers, and you have over 90,000.
I hope we can get on again.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, I tell you what. We're right in the middle of this thing. It's going to keep getting better and better. You know, Barr has just told the House that he's investigating the FISA abuses, that they should have a report within the next month or so. We know that Nunes is coming out with his criminal referrals this week. We have Meadows saying we've got much more than that. Boy, we got Hannity out there saying TikTok, this is it. Finally, we're going to get some justice.
It's happening.
It's happening. And you were talking about just a minute ago about how the president is and how he works and how his business is. You know, right now, we are in the position of having all of them stand there and beg to have the information that you were just referring to.
So it's looking good. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much, Bill.
We got Matrixxx and Shady. Guys, follow them on Twitter. Check out their website, inthematrixx.com. That'll be a good central ground for you guys to figure out how the heck all this Q stuff works. I know it's confusing for a lot of people, but just, you know, learn a little bit at a time. You know, master one little bit at a time. Before you know it, you'll have it semi figured out. So, guys, thank you so much. Folks, I'll be back in just a minute with the rest of the show.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.
Thank you, folks, for tuning in tonight. I appreciate Matrixxx and Shady coming on the show tonight. What a great insight into the mindset of Q and the mindset of the QAnons. I tell you what, this is MAGA Nation. We are strong, we are powerful, there is a plan, and we're going forward to 2020 for a great victory, not only to put Donald Trump back in the White House, but to win back the House for us. Have a great day. We love you guys. We'll be back again tomorrow night. See you soon. Thanks.
I am your voice.
Your voice, America. Your voice, America.